Just to kind of paint a vision for leaders that maybe have some kind of rag in place or already scanning these documents and there's some kind of retrieval tool, what would be like a phase two, a next level two when it comes to this rag tool? What are the capabilities that AI can do after we are scanning these documents and maybe the predictive or analytic side of things?
Sure. Well, I think that so with our approach, we like the concept of we call it control tower, and there's kind of three pieces to it. Your data lake, that's the foundation. You got your AI engines, whether it's machine learning or generative AI, and then at the top you have your kind of action kind of command center where you're actually doing something with it, right? So I think once you get an initial kind of chat going on with RAG, that's great. You can access it, but the bigger value is going to be when you can embed that into a workflow or process. And these are things that don't need to be done real time. They can be done at night. They can be done at batch. You can run it 3 times, make sure the result's the same for each of the 3 times. And if it is, then use the result. There's a bunch of things you can do. And these things are getting cheaper and cheaper. So all the things that you would maybe have an intern do, right? This analysis, this detailed work that really nobody has time to do, you can kind of build these solutions to do them and make sure that they're doing meaningful, valuable work, right? So get some of these basic solutions in place and these components in place, and then start putting them in a basic process, right? And kind of having that process run, right? And then you're kind of reviewing the output with your kind of army of AI interns, right? And you got to start small. Think about it. If you had 1,000 interns, you wouldn't know what to do. They'd be producing so much stuff. So you got to start small. Start with 2. Start with 3. And then start reviewing it, and then and enhance it from there. So I think that's the right way to think about it. And you want it to be. I heard a new term. It's called artificial capable intelligence. I was like, oh, that's interesting,
Yeah.
because it means that this new generative stuff is actually kind of you know capable and general purpose enough to get this stuff done. And I think the hit and the problem in the past is everything's been so narrow. It can only do this, and then you spend more time checking and updating and doing all that stuff. It's not even worth the time. Might as well just do it yourself, right? Well, now these systems are becoming more general and more capable that they can do 80-90% of it, and or maybe even 98% of it, right? And then you're just doing kind of the review, assessment, tweaking, and on top of that, right? So anyways, I think that kind of for leaders, once they get this kind of solution and I'll say stack or control tower in place, you need to start, putting making this thing run by default, right? And having these processes use this stack to then have you start assessing and reviewing the results. And then you learn, hey, well, can I do this? Can I do that? Can I do that? And you're like, yeah, sure can. Um, so that's the way I would approach it. But it's very important to get to action and not
Yeah, that
just assessing.